Hey everybody, I'm Lisa Young Sutton, and today we're going to examine the mice card of the Petit Lenormand. The mice is the card of loss, theft, damage, spoilage, erosion, decay, disease, and the anxiety associated with these things. Mice steal something from you, such as your resources, your energy, your time, or your peace of mind. And these losses often go unnoticed for long periods until the damage is great enough to catch your attention. Other than tangible theft and loss that cause anxiety and worry, this card can refer to emotions that gnaw away at you, such as regrets, feelings of lack or insufficiency, or constant underlying doubts and fears. Its core energy is negative, which means that it reduces, constricts, or lowers something in an unfavorable, detrimental, or unpleasant way. This card's core function is one of loss that leads to damage, anxiety, and a mess to clean up afterward. The mice can refer to little thoughts or events happening behind the scenes that often go unnoticed or that seem inconsequential at the moment until they add up to create big problems. As the card of loss, we can also see this as the feeling of being deprived of someone or something of value. When you see this card, consider words and phrases such as loss, damage, diminishment, deterioration, theft, pilfering, deprivation, debts, reduction in number, declining, draining away, dwindling, eroding, corroding, decay, something that's going bad, waste, shortage, wearing out, spreading illness or disease, mess, filth, contaminate, infest, infect, damage, destruction, defective, depleted, disappearance, deficient, wasting, waning, worries, regrets, persistent annoyances, pests, restlessness, avoidance, energy vampires, undermining, nagging, neglecting, gnawing, nitpicking, things that take away or set you back. Now that was a long list, but I'll tell you what, you go through that list carefully and you will completely understand what this card is all about. Okay, descriptive meanings can include actual mice, rats, rodents, small domesticated animals such as hamsters, gerbils, guinea pigs, or small wildlife such as chipmunks and squirrels. Because the biggest problems mice cause generally relate to places where humans reside, right? Houses, barns, workplaces, storage buildings. This can represent issues with or damage to these structures in general, including termite or water damage. So if the mice is near the house card in a reading, don't think it automatically means the house has mice, but it is being, eaten away by something, damaged, eroded, so that could include, insects or water damage, something like that. Okay, it may represent infestations, mobs, and swarms, as well as describing garbage, junk, dirt, and filth. It can describe the areas of your home where you typically find mice, such as the kitchen, the attic, basement, garage, barn, or other outbuildings. It's the card for germs, bacteria, and viruses. If the mice is appearing to indicate that something has been misplaced, lost, or stolen, the surrounding cards can describe what that is. And we're going to see that at the end of this video in the grand tableau. Now, when you're using this card to indicate what could be missing or lost or stolen, consider some possibilities, and I have these in my book. The rider can represent horses, bikes, motorcycles, cattle, or any large animals, large animals or small vehicles, right? The ship is the card of large vehicles, cars, trucks, boats. The scythe can represent tools, the books, or laptop computers. The letter is documents, anything on paper, right? even anything with words. The bouquet can be artwork, stars, electronic devices, or GPS. And the birds can represent cell phones. And if you're like me and perform a lot of missing object readings, check out the missing object section of my book, which is, hang on, here's my book, beep, beep, beep. Right here in the print book, it's 343, missing or lost objects, people and animals, because not only do I have spread ideas and tips and all of that, I have a section of missing object keywords. Okay. Oopsie. And a fun exercise to try. Okay. All right. Describing a person. In describing personality, they may be irritable, nervous, anxious, high-strung, always on edge, a nail-biter, neurotic tendencies, someone who feels inadequate, a constant worrier, someone who lacks concentration or possesses hidden vices. Mice people aren't independent, but typically follow the crowd. Think about herd mentality or pack mentality, right? They may also be passive-aggressive. That's a very mice-type trait. Okay, in describing appearance, they may be small, short, have prominent teeth with chewed nails, and a general unkept or nervous appearance. They may be sloppy, dirty, wasteful. One who takes things without asking or is careless with your things. That's a mice type person. One who has experienced deprivation. Mice people need to stay busy and to dispel all that nervous and misguided energy, right? So they're always darting around, right? Someone who always follows the crowd, right? I just mentioned that crowd pack mentality. The mice card can indicate a thief, a beggar, a garbage picker, an energy vampire, a looter, trash collector, factory or piece worker, loss assessor, exterminator, a dentist, dental hygienist, orthodontist, that type thing. Okay, in a daily draw, if the mice card shows up in your dailies, it may be a day where you feel something's missing, but be on alert so you don't carelessly misplace things. And keep track of all your possessions if you're out. You may miss something or somebody today, or have an underlying feeling of lack or insufficiency. It may refer to a squirrel invading your squirrel-proof bird feeder, or with the whip, it may be a day to clean out the attic, basement, garage, or the kitchen. Get cracking on that kitchen. In advice readings, discover what's eating you. Don't follow the crowd. Chip away at an issue gradually. Identify security breaches. Check your stock. Graze rather than eat big meals. Don't worry incessantly about every little thing. Look around because you're being ripped off, right? Beware of energy vampires. When it touches the ways, you may be running out of options. So you better get on that decision. Okay, in a work or business reading, it's the card of general corruption, losses, and dishonesty at work. If it's referring to you, it can suggest that you're missing the small details, and it's going to add up to a big problem. Small errors are going unnoticed. Check for excessive debts, losses, or theft. Are you being undermined by a coworker who's been silently taking credit for your work? Time to tend to the small issues that are piling up, or that pile of paperwork that's accumulating on your desk that's causing you to lose sleep. It may reference corruption or a decay of the company, especially if it falls with the tower. For work advice, before you proceed with something, check for hidden enemies. And you know from the mountain card video that enemies are not always physical people. Enemies aren't always outside of us. Okay, in a spiritual reading, the mice can refer to energy vampires, as I've already mentioned, which aren't always people. An energy vampire is anyone or anything that drains your life force energy. It will be in the form of negative people that leave you feeling depleted, or your own underlying doubts, fears, and worries. This card says that it's time to release or remove these things from your life as they're eroding your connection to Source. This is for spiritual readings. This may involve forgiving someone or forgiving yourself. Okay, in a relationship reading, when the mice appears in a relationship reading, it may refer to a loss of love or an underlying feeling that something is wrong, general fear and nervousness that prevents one from committing, hidden unhealthy issues that are eroding the relationship, or feelings of neglect. It can also reference spoiling, especially regarding a relationship with one's children. So many people proudly use the word spoil regarding their children, but if you look up the meaning of the word spoil, you'll find that it means to impair or destroy the value or quality of, to ruin. Yeah. I once dated a classic example of a spoiled, rotten mama's boy who thought any woman he was with should cater to his every whim. All taking, no giving. Okay? So be careful spoiling your children. And you women that have sons, think about the next woman in his life. Okay, in health readings, as the card of loss and damage, this isn't a card you want to see in most health readings. While it's true that the mice can gnaw away at something such as a tumor or indicate weight loss, because it's a damaging card, without a card of success or healing nearby, there will most likely be side effects or an unhealthy end result. Regarding weight loss, consider that when this card is near, it's indicating that there's a good chance that what's been lost will be recovered. Okay, it's the card of vitamin and mineral deficiencies, nervous tics, decay, infections, parasites, bacteria, viruses, as well as slow metabolism. Now, I want to point something out here. Because some readers prefer to see the mice as a fast card because mice are fast. But we're not reading for mice. We're reading for humans who deal with the effects of mice, right? So those effects are slow. Think of the impact that mice make. It's decay, erosion, corrosion, depletion, wasting. I mean, all of the key words reference slow processes. So we're looking at the result of the mice card, not the actual animal that's pictured on the emblem of the card. Okay, anatomically it represents the teeth. Now, looking at the cards on the table, we have a lot of cute little moisels. Oh, the little mice. All right, the fairy tale fortune card, the mouse. What's eating away at you? I love that. And, okay, so here's the primal Lenormand. Right here, you can see originally there was just one mouse there. And you rarely see that, right? I mean, it's almost always, well, here, this is just one mouse. But mostly you're going to see a bunch of mice. Okay, the verse card says, mice come to tell you something, a story of a theft they narrate. Maybe you will get your stolen things back, and maybe it's already too late. Okay, and of course, the Petit Lenormand has the Mouseketeers. Oh man, I used to watch that show. Hey, remember Annette Funicello? She was considered a babe. She was the first Mouseketeer to get boobies. Okay, anyway. All right, let's compare the mice. I need you. Come here. No one has noticed yet that I have a new deck that I'm really excited about. I think I said it in the last video too, because I'm going to do a walkthrough on it. Okay, anyway, let's do some comparisons. Okay. There we go. We can compare the mice to the birds with regard to stress, right? The mice card represents those consistent, ongoing worries that gradually wear you down, whereas the bird represents temporary, everyday stresses or excitement. So consider temporary, ongoing, right? Okay, we can compare the mice to the scythe. There's a lot of comparisons between these two. The scythe represents sudden and unexpected removals, accidents, deleting, and canceling, right? Whereas the mice represents gradual erosion, stealing, borrowing without permission, or taking and hiding. You can see the mice as the general card of loss, while the scythe represents, or can represent, severe loss or injury, right? The scythe is urgent and the mice is niggling. Remember that what the mice removes may be recoverable. What the scythe removes is not. Okay? Gone forever. Okay. We can compare the mice to the fish because the fish is increase or adding value while the mice is decrease and loss of value. So those are polar opposites. Okay, let me put the grand tableau in front of you. And then I will read you the plot. Let's see here. No, wait. There we go. This is the Lenormand Silhouettes mini deck. Did this. Okay. Anyway. All right, the plot. The original instructions say the mouse is a sign of theft, a loss when near. It indicates the recovery of the thing lost or stolen. If at a distance, the loss will be irreparable. Okay? The coffee card verse, favorably placed, what was lost will be returned in a wonderful manner. Unfavorably placed, thrift, robbery, and stealth. Okay, so this is basically the same as the method of distance meanings of near and far and whether positive or negative cards are surrounding this card. Okay, so the directional cue. Both sides show a loss, but the card to the left is being or has been slowly eroded or damaged, while the card to the right will show you what you're going to lose out on because of it. And, you know, that may sound a little confusing, but if you just consider that you read left to right, you won't have any trouble understanding what this, what that means. So now don't think that seeing negative cards on either side of the mice is a removal of them. Excuse me, because the underlying function of the mice card is damage. Andy B describes this by saying that you'll still lose out in some way. Even if the mice is eroding negative cards, you're still going to lose out in some way. And Bjorn describes it as you'll still be left with anxiety and a mess to clean up. So they both have their own way of wording it, but no matter what, the mice can't just make negative cards disappear. All right, clusters, it's part of the gang of adversaries. Of course it is. So, as far as the method of distance goes, the mice is a negative card wherever it falls, but it's a bit different from most negative cards in that there's a benefit to having it very near, just as with the cross card. And it's only these two cards that do this, that act in this way, the mice and the cross. They are both unpleasant cards, the mice and the cross, that you really don't want near your card. But if they must be to indicate a current life situation, it's better to have them in a nearby control position. If you control the mice, you may be able to prevent them from getting away permanently with your stuff, right? That's a perfect way of looking at it. Similarly, if you control the cross, you can choose to put it down or you can choose to climb down off of it if it's referring to being a martyr or being weighed down by your principles. It's worse if these cards are far from you and thus out of your control, especially when they touch life area cards. In any event, they always bring some anxiety, the severity of which will be determined by the surrounding cards. All right, so, you know, you have to look at not just proximity, but card placement, you know, what's around, what's touching these cards. So, the mice, if near, you have an element of control over the mice and the possibility of recovering what they steal. And if favorable cards surround it, the damage and anxiety will be diminished. Okay? If far, the surrounding cards will determine the loss this card is referring to. Whatever it is, it's out of your control and the damage is done. If you lost something, it's probably gone for good, or at least for the duration of the spread's time period. Likewise, with any feelings of deficiency, right? If it's referring to that, okay, that's going to last most likely throughout the time period of the spread when it's far. Okay, hopefully in the far position, it's not touching the house, especially with the fox or the clouds or other life area cards. So what do we have here? What do we have here? So this is a spread for a woman, and here she is. Okay, this is the lady, this is the man, and this is the child, just to differentiate between these three. I don't know how clearly you can see them. Okay, so this was a spread, and this was a reading that really broke my heart. This was for a friend's niece, I think. Okay, anyway, the story was that this woman and her boyfriend were living together, and they had a rough breakup. He left her and stole some things from her. But the only thing she really cared about was the dog. Okay, so you can see here he is very far. He's also in a control position related to her. Okay, the mice is far from her. What's the mice touching? The house. Okay, on the other side we have the clouds, dark side facing. Okay, so yeah, he left and took the dog. Now the thing is that he had bought the dog. The papers were in his name, the bill of sale, all of that, right? But he bought it for her. She was the one who raised it. She spent all the time with it. She trained it. She took complete care of it. It was really her dog. So basically he took it just for spite, which you can see if you look at, you know, the relationship cards and, you know, I mean, look at the ring. We got the fox facing it and the snake. Okay, so anyway, let's get back to the mice. So the mice far says you're probably not going to recover what is missing, right? At least for the time period of the spread. This was a 6-month spread, right? But when you look around the mice, you're going to get the story about what this loss is referring to. What are these mice stealing? Okay, well, he's the thief right there. Here's the house. But look what's right under it. Here's the dog. Then we have the letter. That was the paperwork, the bill of sale and the dog's papers, you know, health records, all of that, right? He also took money, but this is also valuable resources, right? The fish. So that's your abundance. So he took a lot of stuff. Yeah. Oh, he also took her computer. We got the star there. Stars. Yeah, so will she get the dog back? Well, not during the 6 months that the spread was laid for. And we can say from where she lays here in the bottom line, you know, looking at these cards around her, that what she's just discovered, that's the book, is going to be in place for a long time, right? So that the tree is draining the book, right? So it's kind of holding it in place, right? So this, what she just discovered, this unfavorable, you know, information that she just discovered is going to be in place for a long time. I can say that. And we know she can't trust him. I mean, the fox is warning her not to trust someone that you thought you could trust, right? And the snake is spitting its venom on the bond card, the ring. And we can say that her satisfaction has come to an end during this 6-month period for sure, you know, because it's entangled in betrayal. And you know what? Remember, these are her very near cards and these are her near cards, right? So she has the ways there. We just did the ways video, right? So she has an important decision she needs to make. and we can look on either side to check out the options. All right? She can either wait for an opportunity to pop up, you know, to try to get the dog back, to try to bring the dog back into, you know, add this dog back into her life, right? Or she can choose to take action. We have the rider on the other side. Knowing that her broken heart, we got the scythe facing the heart, isn't going away. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. She's got the tree blocking this from her, right? And she doesn't know when. Nobody knows when this is going to straighten out. But she can choose to take action to try to, you know, pick up her key, right? Here's the solution card, and bring a new dog into her life. This is the fish is adding value, right? This is the child, something new. Here's the dog, right? So she can choose to do that, or she can choose to just kind of, look, here we have the mountain here too. She can choose to wait for an opportunity that's not coming anytime soon to get the dog back. Okay, that's it, my friends. That's it for the mice, and thanks for watching as always. Don't forget to like and share and thank me if you so desire, and I will see you in the next video, which is going to be the ring. All right, thanks, and go play with your cards. Bye, everybody.